Now, Boris Johnson took to Twitter yesterday with a video announcing that he is in quarantine, as well as pleading with people to stick to the rules. That was just hours after essentially he did a massive U-turn trying to escape self-isolation rules. Let's have a listen into what Boris Johnson had to say yesterday.
Hi folks, like so many hundreds of thousands of other people across the country, I've been pinged, I've been asked to self-isolate by the test, trace and isolate system after I've been in contact with somebody who has COVID, in this case, of course, the Health Secretary Sajid Javid. And we did look briefly at the idea of us taking part in the pilot scheme, which allows people to test daily. But I think it's far more important that everybody sticks to the same rules. And that's why I'm going to be self-isolating until the 26th of July, Monday, the 26th of July. And I know how frustrating it all is, but I really do urge everybody to stick with the programme and take the appropriate course of action when you're asked to do so by NHS Test and Trace. And the reason for that is we're going tomorrow into step 4. We're doing a big opening up, and that's quite right. If we don't do it now, then we'll be opening up in the autumn, the winter months, when the virus has the advantage of the cold weather. We lose the precious fire break that we get with the school holidays. If we don't do it now, we've got to ask ourselves, when will we ever do it? So this is the right moment, but we've got to do it cautiously. We've got to...
OK, well, the Adam Smith Institute, a free market think tank, has estimated that some 1.73 million people, that's almost 2 million of us, are currently isolating across the UK after being pinged by the COVID trace and test app, like the Prime Minister was. Let's speak to Matt Kilcoyne of the Adam Smith Institute, who joins us live now. First of all, Matt, before we get on to those figures about people who've been pinged, clearly there was an awful lot of criticism of the Prime Minister yesterday with his U-turn. It's on many of the front pages of the papers this morning. Though there is a thought process that, this idea that we should all obey by the rules, but at the end of the day, we're talking about the Prime Minister, the Health Secretary and the Chancellor here. They're pretty busy people. Shouldn't they be getting on with the job rather than this kind of weird idea that they're somehow all like us when they're not? They're running the country, frankly.
Well, famously, of course, both the Chancellor and the Prime Minister already work from home, having their grace and favour apartments in number 10 and number 11. So there's no real sort of skin off their back from having to do self-isolating in the flat rather than coming down into the office and into those offices of state. In terms of, as opposed to many Britons right across the country who are facing financial hardship, something like 27% of Britons face losing money during the isolation period. That's according to the government's own figures as part of the Office of National Statistics. And of course, when this app was designed, when the Hancock app was designed, it was designed to try and get as many people as possible who could have possibly come into contact with COVID, knowing that we had no vaccine and we had no treatments that were really effective. Now, a lot of that has changed. There are some new treatments that look very effective. There are vaccines. And so it hasn't kept up. The bureaucracy hasn't kept up with the science. And that is a real blow to all those businesses that are hoping to reopen today on Freedom Day, but are having to, in fact, shut. And also are facing a shortfall as Rishi removes corporate welfare.
Yeah, Matt, good morning to you. Yeah, I was just going to say, it's ironic, isn't it? There are 1.73 million people self-isolating. I'm sure that will rise because they've been pinged. We're opening up. Everyone's out and about. Darren went to a pub at the weekend. They said, sorry, we can't serve you any food because we have no staff. Surely the government have to do something about this and change the rules here, because otherwise there aren't going to be enough people to actually service, shall we say, the community.
So we told the government about this issue about a month ago. And we told them it was going to be an exponential issue, that it was going to rise very, very quickly, very steeply, as people pinged against one another. And then knowing that we also had some bottleneck events, like the semi-final and the final of the Euros held here in England, and with the likelihood that England were going to be in the final, which of course they were. And that means that you're going to end up with super spreader events, but you're also going to end up with events where people just carry on pinging against one another who are not spreading the virus and have actually passed extra mortality risk. We know that there is some extra mortality from a larger number of cases despite the fact that there are vaccines, because some people are still clinically vulnerable. But the vast majority are not clinically vulnerable anymore. They are now protected against this virus, and we should be allowed to reopen our economy and get on with our lives as far as possible.
OK, Matt Kilcoyne, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. As always, appreciate your insight. Thank you very much indeed.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.